Now, politics for change, from words into action. Well, that's the motto for this year's Brussels conference on LGBTI issues. In a bloc of countries where rights are different from one place to another, it's a chance to come together in solidarity. Well, Euronews' correspondent Maeve McCann reports.
This is Mirka, an LGBTI activist from Warsaw. A challenge in a country that has not seen one legal change for LGBTI equality since 2004.
Still, when I go out for a walk or just to go shopping with my wife, we don't hold hands. Sometimes we do hold hands, but very rarely. And we usually do something like that, looking around if anyone is around and sees us, because it is dangerous in Poland and it's Warsaw. So think about other Polish cities. When you go on a march in Poland outside of Warsaw, you have to prepare yourself that bottles and other objects are going to be thrown at you. So this is the reality.
Mirka is in Brussels today meeting activists from all over Europe and beyond. The organisers, ILGA Europe, who represent the lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans and intersex community in Europe, are worried.
A huge portion of the LGBTI activists and groups that we work with across Europe are under rapidly increasing pressure. They are really at the forefront of so many of the negative trends in the region, from the attacks on democracy, the closing space for civil society, the populist movements, the far right, you name it. Indeed, the political situation in Europe is very different. Fewer and fewer governments are taking further action when we know that hate crime legislation is needed, when we know that anti-discrimination legislation is needed, when we know that protection for LGBTI asylum seekers is needed, and so much more, and trans rights.
Frans Timmermans promised to put more EU money on the table, but recognised the challenges ahead.
To sort of deflect the attention from the... Still, there's a long way to go in many of our member states, and we can only encourage the community to, to hold their courage, to keep fighting for this, and we will be standing right next to them and support them in their fight.
A fight that Mirka will never give up.
Well, Maeve McMahon is at that conference in Brussels. Maeve, can a conference like that make any real concrete difference?
Well, that's a question I put, in fact, to Mirka, and she said she doesn't think that activists here will be able to change mentalities all around Europe overnight, but they will be able to put pressure on lawmakers here in Brussels and ask the EU Commission for more funding. She comes, of course, from Poland, a country that she said the LGBTI community are under threat from what she called far-right hooligans. She described, even in her office, sometimes when homophobic comments are made by politicians, there's an assault directly on her office. She said that in the last 5 years, 1 in 3 members of the LGBTI community have been physically attacked. And that's also a problem in a number of other countries like Poland, Lithuania, Estonia and beyond. So people here in Brussels really trying to put the pressure on and ask politicians to hear their cry. The LGBTI community represent 6% of Europeans. That's over 30 million people. And they're really thinking ahead towards, of course, the European elections that everyone in Brussels is talking about.